What's up, my dude? Ski Crypt Q. I appreciate that membership, buddy. Sorry for it taking so long for me to get to your shout out, but I will be back to live streaming pronto ASAP Rocky. We're hitting it all 2021, dog. We ain't missing no more days, so they ain't ready for it, bro. I'm telling you. Either way. The old JB with the 3P, boys. Justin Barcia, three-time first round, first one since Jeremy McGrath 25 years ago. You probably heard that in the broadcast. Yeah, pretty impressive. Certainly, for all of the troubles and issues that Barcia has had over the past few years, like 6 or 7 years, it's definitely... certainly impressive to see him do this now, for sure. And one thing I want to talk about in this video I found to be really interesting is in his actual post-race interview, if you noticed, he said something like, I don't want this to just be like a one-hit wonder, talking about how, over the past couple of years, he's been winning, the first race, and he's been doing pretty good at the beginning, and then he just falls off of the face of the earth towards the middle part of the series, and then he's literally nowhere to be found by the time we get to the last round of the series, right, for the championship. And this is what I've been saying this whole time about Barcia, right? I'm like, this is what he's been doing, He's just been going in there really, hot, firing out of the gate, doing really well right off the start, and everybody gets all hyped up thinking there's going to be like this Justin Barcia comeback, right? And then he literally just, I don't know what happened. Sometimes it's been like injuries, sometimes it's not really been much of an injury, but a lot of times he's just not there for the points in the end, and we're trying to figure out like what's going on, like why does that keep happening over and over and over. So that was really cool for him to recognize that and actually address that to the public. Like he understands what's going on, he's really trying to change his ways around and really be in there for the championship fight. So that was really good to hear that he can accept his pitfalls. And it's kind of like nowadays he's able to accept that. And it's interesting because over the past 2 years, like, it was just amazing for Barcia to just win one main event, Just that alone, from like how bad he was doing there for when he went to some of those other teams and stuff, like just for him to win those first two Anaheim 1 races were amazing. That almost in itself was like winning a title for Barcia, right? But now he's done it so many times, now it's like, okay, he doesn't just want to win the first round, he needs to do more than that at this point. It's like, he's just getting older and older and older, just like a bunch of these other guys. Like, if they don't start doing it, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. Like, they're never going to get a title if they don't start putting it together pretty quickly. Barcia's been in this game for a minute now, and a lot of people thought Barcia was going to be like a multi-time 450 Supercross champion, thought he was going to like blow McGrath out of the water and shit. I remember when people were thinking that when Barcia was first coming around on that 250. And he's good, he's wicked, he's bad to the bone on the bike. He's Bam Bam Barcia, but he just hadn't been able to put it all together, for that championship in the 450 class. So, and he's been there for a while now. I don't know when he first got in there. I think maybe 2013, maybe. I think he ran some Supercross races. So, he's been in there for like 7 or 8 years now, He's been in there for a minute. So that's, some people would consider that quite a long time to be in the 450 class. 7 or 8 years. It's quite a little bit there. So, but we'll see what he can do. I was not shocked at all to see Barcia win this Houston 1 2021. I was pretty much expecting that to happen. Some things kind of caught me off guard. Well, I guess not really, but I was about to say Tomac being in the back in the first round is like catch me off guard, but it's actually not, because he normally has somewhat of a weird like blunder first race. But the T-Sipper the predictor. Just remind you guys, I've already predicted before this season that Tomac's not going to win the championship again, and it's already kind of starting to look like one of those kind of, Tomac blunder seasons, but it still is early on. I don't know what place he finished, like 14th or something like that. So he's going to have a lot of digging to do to come back from that. Cincerillo did pretty good. I think he got 4th. So, and the whole deal with Roczen in second, right, getting right up on Barcia. Listen, Roczen could have won this race if he wanted to, period. The reason why he didn't really make a forcible pass on Barcia the couple of times he got close was Roczen's thinking championship now. Championship, championship, championship. Another win for Roczen is really not going to mean all that much. All Roczen wants is that Supercross championship now. That's literally everything to him. He'll probably retire after he wins one Supercross championship. That's how big of a deal it is. So, he was probably thinking in his head, like, okay, I'm not going to go in here and start bumping and banging with Barcia right here, right out of the gate. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to win this championship, right? So, I'm just saying, Roczen completely 100% could have went in for a pass, probably would have beat Barcia in this race had he not been thinking so much about the championship. So, just saying, like, that is definitely one aspect to it. I hate to say what would have happened or could have happened, but you could just tell by the way Roczen was riding and on the level he was at. He could have got around Barcia. It would have been a little dirty because of how tight the track was and shit like that. And both of them probably would have went down, or Barcia would have tried to got all pissed off and hot in the head and would have tried to come back and blow Roczen out of the water. Could have injured Roczen again. He's probably thinking shit like that. So Roczen just thought better of it, took the second place, because he pretty much knows that, Barcia hasn't really been there in the title hunt the past couple years towards the end of the series anyways, so it's not like he didn't really have the feeling of needing to take points away from Barcia or anything like that either, So it's kind of one of those sort of situations, but yeah, either way, definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about the race. I thought Cinderella rode good, saw a bunch of dudes in the back that shouldn't have been in the back, like Osborne. Anderson was kind of mid-pack. Webb was way back there. There's so many dudes now that it really is like what Ricky said. It's going to be like musical chairs, man. I don't know if you're going to have this like super consistent set of like 3 dudes that are on the podium every single round. Like I think you're going to see these big shifts between like dudes that are getting, podiums, and all of a sudden they get like a 15th or a 10th. Not really from having like a terrible, crash or whatever, but just from how stacked the field is. There's not a lot of room for in the middle, You're either in the front or you're in the back, basically. That's kind of how it is now. So we'll see how that goes. But so we got Houston round 2 coming up really soon. Then we got Houston round 3, so they'll kind of be on the same sort of track design. It's just kind of a reversed layout for Houston round 2. So we will see kind of how that affects the riders. I'm not sure if they're going to prep the track really any differently than they did the first round, but hopefully I don't know, man. That was just a really tight track. Really, really tight track. Thank God there was that quad line that they were hitting after the finish line. That kind of gave them a little bit of, where Barcia and Roczen and those guys could kind of separate themselves a little bit. If it wasn't for that, it'd have been like stupid. But I hate when they have those races where, I say I hate it, but it's like, it's okay if they have one of them a year, like 1 or 2 of them a year. But I don't know what round that was last year, but good God Almighty, that track was so easy. I swear to God, it was like there was just a train of like 15 dudes all within like one bike length apart from each other the entire race. But it wasn't really a race because they couldn't hardly even pass each other, There's this fine balance between like you make something way too easy and yeah, it's gonna make the pack closer together, but it's like they can't even really race because the track's too damn tight. There's not enough different, bigger rhythms and different kind of line options and things like that. There's a fine balance to that. The easier and the easier you make it doesn't just make it better and better for racing. I've seen quite a few of these different, different officials and different kind of peoples kind of go down that road talking like that about it. Ricky may have even went down that road a little bit. But it doesn't just equal better racing. Like you gotta have a balance. Yeah, you don't want to have it like just ridiculous, crazy, giant quad jumps everywhere to where, everybody's super spread out. Like I understand that, but at the same time, You obviously don't want to go like super, super easy either, because then you're just going to have a train of dudes that can't pass each other, right? That wasn't really the case with this Houston round one. It was just a really tight track. There was a couple of different places they were able to gain or lose time, but the main Supercross triple was super small. That was kind of bizarre. They weren't really hitting that jump where it kind of turned into a wall before the whoop section. They weren't really able to hit that. The rhythm sections weren't super complicated. Definitely. They were finally able to do that quad in that one spot after the finish, but other than that, not super difficult type rhythms or separating rhythms or anything like that. Track was just very tight, very, very, very tight. So it made it almost impossible for somebody to pass somebody clean. The only times I really saw anybody do that was basically where they come back around across the start straight and somebody passed somebody around the outside. That was about the only time I ever saw any sort of clean pass the whole night. So hopefully they can kind of widen that track out a little bit, give the guys a little more room to actually race. I think that would help their case a little bit. But yeah, I like whenever there's a little more risk to it, I mean, I know you want to keep the riders safe and all, but I mean, the main triple looked like they could have come up short and really not hurt themselves too bad, And all the rhythms, I mean, the rhythms were actually pretty safe built, They really were when you think about it. You had that one rhythm coming out of the whoops that some dudes were kind of hitting like a quad over a table kind of sort of in that situation. But yeah, either way, I think there's definitely some improvements they can do with the track designs and stuff to try to, make it feel like something different. I was really happy about the race being at nighttime like normal and not like some weird daytime practice qualifying session for the race, right? Like they had last year in a lot of those rounds. At the last half of the season last year. So that was really good to see, but either way, the old Barcia, we'll see if he can hang on to it and keep it going for the rest of the season. I'm going to go ahead and make my prediction. I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to do as bad as he did the past couple years, but I don't think he's going to win the title. I don't even think he's going to be like top 3 at the end of the series either. He's probably going to be like somewhere between top 5, top 10, maybe probably more like top 5 by the end of the season. He may win one more race, may get a couple more podiums, but I don't really think he's going to do anything crazy, to be completely honest with you. He just looks like he's riding really on the ragged edge on that bike. I mean, I'm a little concerned, to be honest. There's a couple times in his heat race I was like, good God almighty, Barcia, lay off the damn Monster Energies, bro. Like, you are fucking all over the place with that bike. He was riding it like he stole it, I mean, and when you do that, it's kind of one of those things, you can do really good in one race, but that shit will reach up and bite your ass before you know it. So hopefully he doesn't have any big, crashes or anything like that this year. That'll be what takes him out, though, if he does have. Like, that'll be the thing that really puts the thorn in his side. He'll have some kind of crash with some kind of injury because he's riding it on the ragged edge. Maybe he'll tone it down a little bit now that he's got his 3-peat in the first round, Maybe he'll tone her down a little bit, think about the championship a little more. I don't know, but if you ride on that ragged edge like he was for every single race, it's going to catch up to you. Straight up. Like, there's no other way around it. It's going to catch up to you, dog. But either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.